The night has arrived. The streets have grown quiet. The weight of the day, with all its demands, slowly loosens its grip on you. You sit here in silence, but you are not alone. Across centuries, by the dim light of an oil lamp, Marcus Aurelius also sat in silence. Emperor of Rome, commander of legions, yet also a weary man longing for rest. Each evening he turned to his journal. Not to impress, not to publish, but to speak honestly to himself. His words were his lantern in the dark. Tonight his lantern lights your way. Imagine him now. In a tent on the frontier, the air cold, soldiers murmuring in the distance. Or in a quiet room within the palace, Rome's noise muted by heavy walls. The flame flickers, shadows dance across the parchment. Marcus bends his head, stylus in hand. He writes not speeches but reminders, words meant only for himself. He records what he must remember when the world grows heavy. That anger is a choice, that time slips away, that tomorrow is not promised. He writes so that his mind, restless with responsibility, can finally grow calm enough to sleep. He was emperor, but he was also human. He carried frustrations, failures, disappointments. He felt exhaustion in his body, doubts in his heart. He knew what you know. The day clings to us. Arguments echo. Plans collapse. Unspoken words gnaw at us. These things creep into our beds, steal our rest, disturb our peace. Marcus found a way to release them. Each night he rehearsed letting go. Each night he prepared his soul for stillness. He wrote, "Do not waste the remainder of your life in thoughts about others, when you do not refer your thoughts to some object of common utility." He reminded himself to turn away from gossip, envy, judgment. He reminded himself to guard his mind, for that alone was truly his. These were not lessons for others. These were the tools he needed to calm himself enough to rest. Think of your own day. What moments are replaying now in your mind? A mistake you cannot undo? A conversation you wish had gone differently? A burden waiting tomorrow? You know the pull of these thoughts. Marcus knew it too, but he chose a different path. He told himself, these things are already gone. The day is already over. To carry it into the night is to fight the river itself. He wrote, "Time is like a river made up of the events which happen, and a violent stream. For as soon as a thing has been seen, it is carried away, and another comes in its place, and this will be carried away too." To Marcus, the day was water slipping past his hands. To cling was pointless. To release was wisdom. The river does not stop for regret. The river flows on whether you rest or not. Tonight he whispers to you, let it flow. Pause for a moment. Breathe deeply. Picture your worries carried away on that river. The harsh words, the unfinished tasks, the weight you drag with you. Watch them float downstream. They do not belong to you anymore. The current takes them. You are left with silence. You are left with peace. Marcus also reminded himself of mortality. Each night was a small rehearsal for death. Not in despair, but in acceptance. To him, sleep and death were kin. Both demanded surrender, both humbled even an emperor. He reminded himself, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. What mattered then was not what had gone wrong today, but whether he lived today with virtue. If he had done his best, he could rest. If he had failed, tomorrow would give him another chance. But tonight he must let go. There is wisdom here for you. Tonight is not a courtroom where you judge yourself. It is not a battlefield where you must win. Tonight is a sanctuary, a place to set down the load you carried all day. You do not need to replay every detail. You do not need to hold every regret. You do not need to solve tomorrow before it comes. Tonight you only need to release. Marcus would set aside his tablet, close his eyes, and trust the world to continue without him. Armies still marched. The Senate still plotted. The empire still turned, but he let it turn without his hand. He knew the truth. Control ends at the edge of the mind. The world outside may rage, but within he could choose stillness. Within he could choose sleep. So here lies the first lesson of Marcus Aurelius's Night Journal. To release the day as a philosopher releases fear. To surrender the noise. To enter sleep with humility, gratitude, and calm. Now let your own body soften, your breath deepen. The burdens you carried can wait by the door. Tonight you are free. Tonight you rest not as a worker, not as a fighter, but as a soul returning home. Marcus reached for stillness, and so can you. And if these reflections ease your mind, remember this. You are not walking these nights alone. Still Within is here to guide you each evening back to calm. Together we practice release. Together we remember peace. Together we find sleep. The night grows deeper and the oil lamp on Marcus Aurelius's desk flickers with a quiet rhythm. He has set aside his duties as emperor, as general, as judge of men. Now he is only a man with a pen and a weary soul seeking rest. In the stillness he writes not to be remembered but to be unburdened. He takes up the wax tablet, the stylus, pressing gently. His words are not lofty decrees but whispers to himself. He admits the small angers that linger from the day. An advisor who betrayed his trust, a soldier who faltered in duty, the endless weight of Rome's expectations. For a moment these emotions coil around him like chains. But then, as the words fall onto the page, they begin to loosen. Each sentence becomes a key, each thought released. He pauses, breathes, and writes again. Why hold anger? The world is as it is. Men act as they believe best. To demand otherwise is to demand the impossible. The words steady him. His hand relaxes. He is no longer consumed by the faces that wronged him. They fade into the distance. What remains is the quiet truth. The only thing he truly governs is himself. And so he continues, tracing thoughts into stillness. He writes of pain, his body weakened by illness, the cough that rattles in his chest. Yet he reminds himself, the body is fragile but the soul can remain unbroken. Writing the truth does not erase the ache, but it transforms the ache into acceptance. In this act he finds release. Imagine him there, the emperor of the world's greatest empire, bent over a small table, seeking peace as humbly as any of us. The crown and armor mean nothing in this hour. He is simply Marcus, a man trying to sleep without carrying the storms of the day into his dreams. And perhaps you recognize this struggle. You too carry unspoken frustrations. The words you never said, the mistakes that replay in your mind, the pressure of expectations that never seem to lift. These thoughts return each night just as they did for Marcus. But Marcus discovered a practice. Before sleep he poured them out so his bed would not become a battlefield. His journal became the gatekeeper of his peace. Tonight you can do the same. You may not have a wax tablet or an oil lamp, but you have paper or a screen or even the quiet of your own breath. You can release the day, write it, whisper it, or breathe it out slowly. The point is not perfection. The point is letting go. Close your eyes now and imagine setting each burden on the table beside you. Picture them leaving your hands one by one. See them as stones removed from a satchel you've carried too long. Notice the lightness that follows. Marcus once wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." But he also knew the importance of what not to hold. Not every insult deserves a reply. Not every worry deserves a place in your heart. Tonight ask yourself, what can I set down? What will I no longer carry into my sleep? He reminds us that the mind, once freed from unnecessary weight, becomes calm like water after a storm. The ripples fade. The surface clears. And in that clarity, sleep arrives not as an escape, but as a gentle friend. So let your own thoughts settle. Whatever anger, whatever shame, whatever unfinished task remains, it can wait. The night is not for conquest. It is for rest. Even emperors must sleep. Take a slow breath and another. Feel how even your breath can become an act of letting go. With each exhale, release something you no longer need. Fear, judgment, tension. Watch them dissolve into the dark. And if these words speak to you, if they echo in your own nights, share them. Leave your own reflection below, so others may find comfort in knowing they are not alone in this quiet struggle. Now, as Marcus closes his journal, the lamp burns lower. He has written his burdens into silence. He sets the tablet aside, and the weight of Rome does not follow him into his dreams. His soul is lighter, ready for rest, and so can yours be. The room is quiet, the night holding its breath, and Marcus lifts his pen once more. His words tonight circle around the fragile truth that everything we love is temporary. The candle burns lower, its wax melting silently, reminding him that even the smallest flame cannot last forever. He writes slowly, deliberately, as if pressing each word into the fibers of the page could somehow delay time.
Life, he notes, is but a loan from nature.
We are tenants, not owners. What is given will one day be returned. He does not write these lines with sorrow, but with acceptance. To Marcus, mortality is not a curse but a compass. It points him toward gratitude. The thought that tomorrow may not come does not fill him with dread, but with urgency to live today with honesty, compassion, and clarity. He pauses, breathes, and lets his mind wander through the faces of those he loves. His children, his soldiers, his friends who stand faithfully at his side. He feels the ache of knowing he cannot keep them forever, but also the warmth of knowing he has them now. This is the paradox Marcus embraces. To love deeply, while holding lightly. To care fiercely without clutching, he reminds himself that clinging breeds fear, while letting go brings peace. On the page he whispers, "Do not demand eternity from those who walk beside you. Instead, treasure their presence tonight, as if it is the only night." Outside his window, the stars scatter like grains of sand across the sky. He often thinks of them when pondering death. Each life, no matter how bright, is but a brief flicker in the vast cosmos, and yet that flicker matters. A star does not need to last forever to shine. He writes, "We too are sparks. Our task is not to burn forever, but to burn with meaning while we can." The thought of death sharpens his gratitude. Where others see loss, Marcus sees instruction. He recalls the deaths of teachers, friends, and even his own children. Each grief carved him but also shaped him. In their absence, he discovered the depth of his love and the fragility of possession. Tonight, he writes, "Every departure has taught me this, that what matters is not how long, but how true." As he sits with these memories, he feels no bitterness. Instead, he feels awe. The fact that anything exists at all, the sky, the earth, the people we love, is miracle enough. Gratitude is not reserved for extraordinary blessings. It is the breath, the heartbeat, the simple act of opening one's eyes to another dawn. He writes, "Let me not sleep tonight with restless desire. Let me sleep with gratitude for the breath that still fills my chest." Marcus often instructs himself in this way, as if giving counsel to a student. He knows the mind drifts easily into longing. Longing for permanence, longing for control, longing for more than life can give. So with his pen, he anchors himself back to what is real, the fleeting beauty of now. Remember, he reminds himself, you are not owed tomorrow, but you are given this hour. Live it, breathe it, and let it be enough. He sets down the pen and gazes at the candle again. Its flame wavers, fragile but steady. He finds in it a reflection of his own spirit. One day it will go out, but while it burns, it gives light. That is all life asks of him, not to conquer time, not to demand permanence, but to shine while he can, with clarity, kindness, and courage. He thinks of how often men fear death, and how that fear poisons their days. They chase distractions, wealth, and applause, hoping to forget the truth they cannot escape. But Marcus has learned another way. He writes, "Death is not the enemy, it is the reminder." It whispers, "Waste no day. Love while you can. Speak truth while you live. Sleep tonight in peace, for tomorrow is uncertain." With these words, he feels lighter. The burden of tomorrow's unknown no longer presses so heavily on his chest. He knows he cannot control what dawn will bring, victory or defeat, joy or grief, life or death. But he can control the state of his soul tonight. Gratitude steadies him. Acceptance frees him. He allows the weight of the day to dissolve, replaced with the calm that comes from surrender. Marcus closes his journal, but not his reflection. He bows his head and sits quietly, letting silence be his teacher. He feels his pulse in his wrist steady, alive. He feels the warmth of the candle, the cool air drifting through the open window. Each sensation is a gift, and for a moment he needs nothing more. He has learned that peace is not found in abundance, but in presence, the willingness to stop, to notice, to receive. And so, as he prepares for rest, Marcus leaves himself one final instruction for the night. When you lie down, do not let your heart dwell on what is missing. Instead, whisper thanks for what is here, for the breath in your lungs, for the roof above your head, for the stars that remind you of your small but meaningful place in this vast world. With this reminder, he lets his thoughts drift, not into anxiety, but into calm surrender. The flame of the candle bends, flickers, and then steadies again. Outside, the stars remain, eternal in their silence. Marcus closes his eyes, not in fear of darkness, but in gratitude for the light that has been given. For him and for us, sleep becomes not an escape, but a practice in acceptance. And as his eyelids grow heavy, he teaches us one last lesson, that peace is not the absence of death, but the presence of gratitude. To live tonight fully, to rest tonight deeply, to let go tonight completely. The emperor sits alone, the lamps dimmed, the night air cool against his skin. His pen scratches softly across the parchment. He writes not about battles, not about politics, not about laws. Tonight he writes about enemies, about wrongs done to him, about words that cut and actions that stung. And yet his words do not burn with anger. They flow with calm. Marcus reminds himself, resentment poisons only the one who holds it. Hatred is a chain you willingly wrap around your own heart. He writes, the one who harms me is already harming himself. Why should I drink from the same bitter cup? He pauses. He thinks of men who betrayed him, senators who whispered lies, soldiers who doubted his strength, even friends who turned cold. The memories rise like smoke, but he exhales slowly and lets them drift away. He asks himself a simple question. Will carrying this hatred make me a better man tomorrow? Will it guard me, heal me, strengthen me? Or will it keep me restless, heavy, chained to shadows that cannot touch me now? Forgiveness, he realizes, is not a gift for the other person. It is freedom for himself. To forgive is to reclaim the stillness of the soul. To forgive is to choose sleep over torment, peace over poison. He writes, when I sleep with anger, I wake with chains. When I sleep with mercy, I wake unbroken. The emperor knew the taste of betrayal well. Power attracts envy. Leadership invites slander. Yet he learned that to seek revenge was to remain bound to the very wound you wished to escape. He saw that every man who hurt him acted out of ignorance, fear, or weakness. And he reminded himself, have I not also failed? Have I not also wounded others without knowing? The night teaches humility. The stars shine without asking who is worthy of their light. The river flows without demanding apology from those who pollute its banks. The fire warms even the hands of those who curse it. Why then should a man cling to his grudges when nature itself shows the way of forgiveness? Marcus writes of enemies as teachers. Those who insulted him taught him patience. Those who betrayed him taught him discernment. Those who opposed him taught him strength. Even the cruel, he notes, show me the path of kindness by contrast. Without them, how could I know the sweetness of mercy? He breathes deeply. The pen rests. The emperor closes his eyes and imagines each person who wronged him. One by one, he loosens the grip of anger. He whispers, you no longer own a piece of my heart. I release you, the weight lifts. The night grows lighter. He understands that forgiving does not mean forgetting. It does not mean approving. It means refusing to carry the coal of hate in your pocket, where it only burns your own hand. He asks himself, how small is life? How short are our days? Shall I spend these brief hours holding on to bitterness? Shall I give my peace as tribute to those who have already taken too much? No, tonight I choose rest. Tonight I let go. He writes for the last time before laying down his pen. The faults of others are their burden. My choice is my own. I choose mercy. I choose sleep. And with those words, he closes the journal. The oil lamp flickers. The emperor lays back, his body heavy with weariness, but his soul light with release. His final lesson of the night is simple, eternal. Forgive, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. So as you listen, let these words sink into your own heart. Who lingers in your memory tonight? Who stirs unrest in your chest? Picture them, see their face, and then let them go. Forgiveness is not weakness, it is strength. The strength to guard your sleep, to protect your spirit, to wake unbroken. Tonight, like Marcus, choose not to sleep with chains. Choose to rest with mercy. Choose peace.